story so far, they find a strange thing on the moon. It sends a signal to Jupiter. The spacecraft is dispatched to investigate, but the onboard computer system malfunctions and kills all but one of the crew. Dave Bowman sets off to encounter the Jupiter monolith and is transported to Beyond the Infinite.
And I think he gave us this extraordinary tone, this pace, mise en scène, sound, visual design. It was, well, I can't go on about it enough. I think it is a timeless film, and I think also he played with time so well. When Dave finally arrives at his destination, and it's a sort of 17th century, 18th century parlour, kind of age of enlightenment really. And we are with Dave Bowman when he sees the back of this man, who of course is himself, and just those great jumps as he sort of morphed into the older version, his older self really. And again, no melodrama, you know, these moments, these devastating moments were just so beautifully told without any sense of melodrama. I can't even remember there was music at that point. I don't think there wasn't those sequences. Sound, diegetic sound was used a lot, you know, the clack of his utensils on his plate, and I think 2001, if I had to say anything about it, it would be a totally immersive film. It is, you are with Dave the whole way through. You're seeing everything, experience everything, feeling everything through Dave's eyes, and you know, you get this great profound sense of grief as Dave ages. You feel that you've been through this extraordinary journey through time and space with him, and he's survived against all odds, and now he's going to die, an old man, you know. How can that be?
This sequence is perhaps the most visually interesting part of the film. Kubrick used a series of split-screen projections, colour-transposed landscapes and blobs of paint. What's actually going on here in scientific terms? The book version describes the EVA pod travelling through a wormhole-like shaft through a cosmic switching station to a red giant white dwarf double star to come to rest in a hotel room. This was a reassuring image created by the alien builders of the monolith. But what exactly is a wormhole? The idea is an extension of Einstein's bendy space-time. The curvature of the fabric of space and time is created by gravity. This is usually depicted as a rubber sheet, which is a simple way of thinking about a five-dimensional object in only three. A wormhole, it is theorized, is a method of connecting far-flung places instantaneously that would take centuries to reach by conventional sublight travel. However, there are a number of problems with this idea. Wormholes are thought to exist as tiny picoscopic holes in the quantum foam between atoms. However, enlarging these large enough to fit a spacecraft and connecting two to make a viable passageway is a technology that may not exist for centuries, but it is theoretically feasible. A more serious problem is spaghettification. A wormhole would resemble a black hole in terms of gravitational gradient. The abrupt cliff edge of gravity tends to tear things to shreds. A much larger hole would have a much gentler gradient, but it would still have a sharp exponential event horizon at its centre. It would also draw in a lot of debris. Another curious feature of general relativity is that time would slow down and stop. Dave wouldn't notice, but the instantaneous journey would take longer than the age of the universe. One possible solution would be to instantaneously materialize a wormhole around the pod, so that it is already beyond the event horizon. The procedure could be reversed at the other end, causing the pod to be in two places at once. How this could be achieved is anyone's guess, but it remains possible. In a Kafkaesque transformation, Dave grows old in minutes and awakes to find himself transformed into a creature of pure energy, reborn as an infant. The alien builders of the monolith transformed themselves into such entities over millions of years while watching over their experiments in gardening intelligence. But what exactly is a creature of pure energy? How would it perform cognitive functions and intelligence without any reference to matter? In many ways we do this already. Our data and computer systems are wired and beamed from point to point. Although lacking actual intelligence, our AI systems are simultaneously everywhere and nowhere, but it still needs reference to physical nodes, computers, telephones and satellites. How might an organism break the tyranny of matter and become free to roam the stars? In theory, all thoughts and memories that make up an individual could be stored as a subharmonic set of frequencies buried in an electromagnetic beam, like a radio signal or a laser beam. However, problems would arise when the beam interacts with matter. There would be a tendency for information to be lost in the quantum transactions. This would be like a sort of dementia. Half your memories would be lost every time you went to the post office. However, this idea could be taken a step further by utilizing the very high latent energy bound within strings. String theory remains a hypothesis with little or no proof of its existence. However, if proven to be correct, it would mark a fundamental change in physics and technology. Essentially, the idea is that subatomic particles exist as vibrating entities resembling a piece of string. The pattern of vibration determines the type of particle. By changing the vibration, you change the particle. Large amounts of data could be stored inside this vibration, fairly safe from quantum or nuclear reactions. Another possibility would be to contain information within the structure of space-time itself, like gravity waves. This concept remains the most speculative of Clarke's ideas, but perhaps the most fascinating. 2001 offers us an optimistic vision of a future where science and engineering have built an exciting and forward-looking society. A year that in many ways was so much better than the year we actually ended up with. 2001 is curiously futuristic and dated all at the same time. The 1960s represented a high point of a scientifically ordered society. Alas, today something has gone wrong. There is a widespread belief in mumbo-jumbo, spread ironically by Clarke's vision of the internet.
And there was no exposition at all, really. It was the apes at the beginning, and you were always thirsty for more in the film. You were thirsty for more, and taken on this journey that you didn't quite understand, but you didn't care, because you were just, your mind was kind of putting the jigsaw pieces of the puzzle that Kubrick had put there for you. You were assembling them in your brain. So I think 2001 is a haunting, unmatched, unique film, and it's completely untouched by time. What are we now, 2021? And I'm just about to watch it again.
2001 was perhaps Kubrick's masterpiece amongst some brilliant films. It remains a landmark in scientific storytelling and visual effects. Thanks for watching. Next time, Blade Runner.